when he agreed today to end this government shutdown. My next guest is a Democrat who will soon vote there in the House. She is Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Congresswoman, good to see you.
You too, Brooke. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's just get to it. A lot of your members say that Leader Schumer caved. Did he?
You know, what I say is that we have been dealing with this Trump shutdown because of the complete ineptitude of this president and the Republican leadership. We're nearly 5 months into the fiscal year. I'm a member of the Appropriations Committee, Brooke. As you know, we should have negotiated a full-year budget as of September 30th of last year, and yet we are still kicking the can down the road because Republicans simply won't come to the table and negotiate with Democrats and work together on a full-year budget.
I hear you on your frustration with the president, but I'm asking about the leader of your party on the Senate side. Did he cave?
You know, every senator has to make their own decision about whether this exclusively Senate deal is something they're comfortable with. As a House member, I'll be voting no, and I'll be voting no because of the reasons I just described for you. The Republicans need to come to the table and negotiate to lift the caps, which, if we don't lift them, will risk an irresponsible kick-in of the sequester, which is designed to never kick in. It's supposed to be so egregious that and so harmful that we would never allow it to happen. And yet we're 5 months into the fiscal year and the Republicans still won't sit down and negotiate a comprehensive budget deal. And in addition to that, this bill doesn't include and didn't include protection through disaster relief for my state after Irma, for Puerto Rico after Maria, and for Texas after Harvey. And so there are a variety of reasons not to vote for this. We need to sit down in a much shorter term and negotiate in a comprehensive way on a full-year budget deal, in addition to protecting our dreamers, making sure we protect children's health insurance, fund community health centers, and our military.
It sounds like there's a lot that wasn't in this deal. So again, I have to harp back on what one thing can you point out that the Democrats, that Leader Schumer, what one thing did he get, you know, from Republicans to justify shutting down the government in the first place?
So the one thing I would say that he did get is the potential for momentum. Because if, and I'm certainly hopeful that that's what occurs, but if the majority leader, Mr. McConnell, can be taken at his word, and over the next 3 weeks before February 8th, they can negotiate on protecting the dreamers, on making sure that we can have a full-year comprehensive budget that lifts the caps and really makes sure that we can responsibly budget again, then maybe we can be in a position to get the House and the President to come on board.
I'm still hung up, though, and I know Americans are listening, and they heard you say, and it's reverberating, potential for momentum, and they're thinking, potential for momentum, was that really worth shutting the government down for? The potential for something.
I will tell you that Republicans should be asking themselves that question because they shut the government down. This is a Trump shutdown, Brooke. They control the White House, the House, and the Senate. They have the full ability to have passed a budget, done whatever they wanted, and they couldn't because they know that the way they are trying to approach funding the government is irresponsible, and they couldn't even get all of their own members to vote for it. There is a potential for momentum if they are able to reach agreement on making sure that we can have a comprehensive budget deal, get our disaster relief passed to protect the communities that have been devastated by natural disasters, make sure we responsibly fund our military, our community health centers, and children's health insurance, and our dreamers. And then eventually, hopefully, we can get some agreement from the House and the President. My concern is that this is an exclusively Senate deal. The House and the Senate and the White House have had, no part of this, and so the momentum is what I'm hopeful about. And we'll just have to wait and see. But I can't vote yes on wait and see.
Understand. And on the potential for momentum, let's go with that argument. And then on that, do you think that Senate Democrats should trust Mitch McConnell and his promise, his intention to deal with this in 3 weeks?
I'm not a Senate Democrat, so I can't judge what a Senate Democrat should or should not be doing. I am a House Democrat, and I can tell you that there's no trust here on the House side because there's been none earned The Republican leadership in the House has not been included in this deal, was not asked to sign off, and actually over the weekend when Paul Ryan was asked to sign off, he said no. And so the bill that I'll have in front of me has no confirmation from me and my comfort level that even if they get momentum, that the House will take it up or that the President will sign it. So this Trump shutdown is purely a result of their ineptitude, their inability to govern, and the madness has to stop. And it's only going to stop if we sit down at the table, work together, hammer out a compromise on the variety of issues that are absolutely essential to the American people's quality of life.
On that word compromise, I was talking to one of your colleagues in the House, Luis Gutierrez, over the weekend in D.C., and, I know several Democrats, him included, they say they actually support building the wall, give the president his big, beautiful wall in exchange for Dreamer help. Do you back that?
I mean, let's not say.
Do that?
I sat next to Luis Gutierrez in caucus today. He doesn't support the wall, so don't characterize it that way.
He sat with me, Congresswoman, he sat with me in the D.C. bureau on Saturday saying, give me a hammer and nails, I will build that wall myself if I get protection.
Right.
For
he
Dreamers.
said he was willing to compromise on it, but let's not characterize that as support for the wall. None of us, I don't know any Democrat that supports this wall, and most Republicans don't support it. But what we do need to do to protect 800,000 Dreamers who were brought to this country through no fault of their own is sit down together at the table and have a discussion and a comprehensive compromise legislation that we can put on the floor that both houses will sign off on and the president will sign into law. And if that ultimately in that discussion includes some version of a wall, then if it's the bipartisan will to do that, then that's something that should be considered. But I'm not going to cherry pick every part of what could be considered to reach a deal to protect our Dreamers. I just want to make sure that we're sitting down together at the table and talking about achieving that. And thus far, the Republicans on the House side in particular have been unwilling to do that.
Sure. Well,